Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Banacharya. Yamunatira Banacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayantla Pravishtam Vishnupa Paramahamsa Stotara Satla Srimad Devangre Shri Bhakti Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayantla Pravishtam Vishnupa Paramahamsa Stotara Satla Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Disappearance Day of Srila Sanatana Goswami ki jai. Shri Guru Purnima ki jai. Beginning of Chaturmasya ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, no, the Panchatattva. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasdev Maharani ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Hare Nam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pstayutare Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami. Namaste Saraswati Deva Ravana Vichinara Sunyade Vishite Starine. First Bhagavatam, then I can read this. Ah, yeah, of course. That too, of course. Both. Okay. Hare Krishna. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nasta prayeshu avadreshu nityam bhagavatas sevaya Bhagavati Uttamaśloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 16, Praise of King Prithu by the Professional Reciter. Text 1. Maitreya Vacha Iti Bruvanam Nripatim Gayaka Munichoditaha Tushtuvus Tushta Manasas Tadvag Amrita Sevaya. Maitreya Vacha Iti Bruvanam Nripatim Gayaka Munichoditaha Tushtuvus Tushta Manasas Tadvagamrita Sevaya. Please chant. Tibruvanam Nripatim Gayaka Munichoditaha Susamasa. Lady? Maitreya Vacha. The great sage Maitreya said, Iti, thus, Bruvanam, speaking, Nripatim, the king, Gayaka, the reciters, Muni, by the sages, Chodita, having been instructed, Tushtuvu, praised, satisfied, Tushta, being pleased, Manasa, their minds, Tat, his, Vak, words, Amrita, nectarian, Sevaya, by hearing. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, while King Prithu thus spoke, the humility of his nectarian speeches pleased the reciters very much. Then again they continued to praise the king highly with exalted prayers as they had been instructed by the great sages. Purport. Here the word Munichodita indicates instruction received from great sages and saintly persons. Although Maharaj Prithu was simply enthroned on the royal seat and was not at that time exhibiting his godly powers, the reciters like the Sutta, the Magadha, and the Vandi understood that King Prithu was an incarnation of God. They could understand this by the instructions given by the great sages and learned brahmanas, We have to understand the incarnations of God by the instructions of authorized persons. We cannot manufacture a God by our own concoctions. As stated by Narottam Das Thakur, Sadhu Shastra Guru, one has to test all spiritual matters according to the instructions of saintly persons as scriptures and the spiritual master. The spiritual master is one who follows the instruction of his predecessors, namely the sadhus or saintly persons. A bona fide spiritual master does not mention anything not mentioned in the authorized scriptures. Ordinary people have to follow the instruction of sadhu, shastra and guru. Those statements made in the shastra and those made by the bona fide guru, sadhu or guru, cannot differ from one another. Reciters like the Sutta and the Magadha were confidentially aware that King Prithu was an incarnation of the personality of Godhead, although the king denied such praise because he was not at that time exhibiting his godly qualities. The reciters did not stop praising him. Rather, they were very pleased with the king, who, although actually an incarnation of God, was so humble and delightful in his dealing with devotees. In this connection, we may note that previously, for 1521, it was mentioned that King Prithu was smiling and was in a pleasant mood while speaking to the reciters. Thus we have to learn from the Lord or his incarnation how to become gentle and humble. The king's behavior was very pleasing to the reciters, and consequently the reciters continued their praise and even foretold the king's future activities, as they had been instructed by the sadhus and sages. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, it's very interesting that King Prithu is considered an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, although he's not Vishnu Tattva, he's a Sakti Avesha avatar, empowered incarnation. That means he received powers from the Supreme Lord, special powers. So he's an empowered manifestation of God on earth. So in one way, he could be considered God, although he's not. Directly, I mean to say. And it's very interesting that the reciters who were praising King Prithu, they were aware of his actual position as an avatar because they were instructed by the great sadhus and sages who knew from the Shastra about King Prithu. So it's not like Vox Populi, that somebody elect a person to be an avatar and everybody agree with it. Like nowadays the fashion is like that. I just came from Phoenix, Arizona, so hot there, 112 degrees. It's extreme hot heat. Went walk for a morning walk, and we have to go very, very early before sunrise. But it was nice, pleasant, many devotees, and nice. And I hear a story that some members of the temple, they wanted to have an Hindu temple, and they split, and they want to put one Shirdi Sai Baba as the main deity of the temple, things like that. So devotee, of course, the managers there didn't agree, because they were offering them to support them, and they will give the money and all this, but they didn't sell themselves to that idea, you know. The thing is that people are very much impressed by miracles. That somebody somehow some power, immediately he's divine or even God. So they consider this Shirdi Baba as God. They consider him Krishna. Like that. And who decided that? They decided that. Who else? Are the great sages acknowledging that? The Shastra? No. Just by vote. We agree, yes, it is done. That's the system nowadays. Anyway, so although the king wasn't yet exhibiting his godly powers, but and therefore he was not accepting the praise. In a humble way, he was declining it. So, and smiling nicely at the reciters, and he spoke so beautiful nectarian speeches that everybody was pleased. So Prabhupada mentioned the purport that it's very important to learn from King Prithu how to be nice and humble and delightful in our dealing with the devotees, Be kind with the devotees. It's very important. If somebody, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that if a devotee is harsh and is dealing with other devotees, he should be avoided. Means he's influenced by the mode of ignorance, although he's a devotee. We may respect him or her, but from a distance. That's the advice given. If somebody is very harsh in his dealings and things like that. So we should not offend any person, not even the harsh persons. But we should, keep some distance. So today is many things happening today, many celebrations. Well, the first day of Chaturmasya begins today. And Prabhupada said we should not take spinach. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita he mentioned spinach for 1 month. It's a kind of austerity. And the reason is, there is some reasons behind it, of course, Mainly in India, that is, this rainy season start and all this, and so the sages don't travel for 4 months. They stay in one place because of the rain. They can't travel much. At that time, they were traveling by foot. So if it is raining all day, how can you travel? So they have to stay in one place for 4 months. So to balance that, they abstain every month from something like an austerity, like an extra austerity. Of course, we hear from the life of Srila Bhakti Sundar Saraswati. He was doing Chaturmasya by eating once a day, and he will eat khichdi without salt and he will not use his hand. He will put his hand behind his back, and the food is on a leaf plate on the floor. Whatever he could manage to eat with his mouth, that was the eating for that day. That's it. I mean, we can't imitate those severe austerity, but we can appreciate this, And he was chanting all day Harinam, so, Anyway, Prabhupada introduced in his severe austerities for Chaturmasya. Those who are willing to do it is fine. If you do it to please Krishna, is all right. Any other celebration like we do, like follow Ekadashi. Sometimes devotees are caught in the stories of Ekadashi, telling that we will counteract so many sinful reactions from many lifetimes, and you become famous, and you become liberated, and so many other things. But these are distractions. The actual purpose of following Ekadashi is just to increase a love and attachment to Govinda, Prabhupada said in the Nectar of Devotion. That's the difference between a devotee following Ekadashi and a pious karmi following Ekadashi. A pious karmi does it to counteract past sinful reaction. But if you think like that while doing Ekadashi, you are doing Karma Mishra Bhakti, mixed devotion with desire to be free from karma. It's a material desire. Although not bad, but it's not transcendental. Of course, those things, it comes automatically. Of course, you will be free from sinful reaction, but the idea is that everything we do should be to please Krishna and not just to counteract past activities, things like that. And in relation to Guru Purnima, Prabhupada explained that this is celebrated by the impersonalist. We don't celebrate Guru Purnima. We celebrate Vyas Pujas, Prabhupada said. Although it is there in our calendar, but Prabhupada gave that explanation. And today, of course, is Srila Sanatana Goswami disappearance day, Tirobhav Mahotsava. So we are going to read something about him that Dravida Prabhu very kindly researched. Anyway, okay. Okay, thank you. You helped me to find it that too. Okay. Srila Sanatana Goswami appeared in 1488, 5 years before Sri Rupa Goswami, in the Saraswata Brahmana family in Bengal. Sanatana and his two brothers, Rupa and Anupama, were always absorbed in Bhava Bhakti from early childhood. Remembering Vrindavan, they named the forest in which they played after Braja's 12 forest, Talavana, Madhuvana, Kamyavan, Mahavana. They called their favorite bathing ponds Radhakunda and Shyamakunda. In his youth, Sri Sanatana dreamed that a beautiful Brahmana boy gave him Srimad Bhagavatam. Feeling ecstatic, he awoke. But seeing neither the boy nor the Bhagavatam, he felt sad. When Sanatana began his puja that morning, however, Krishna himself, disguised as a beautiful Brahmana boy, came and said, "Take the Srimad Bhagavatam from me, always study it, and you will attain perfection." In Krishna Lila Stava, Sri Sanatana Goswami glorifies the Srimad Bhagavatam. O holy Bhagavata, you are my only company, my only friend, and my Guru. You are my greatest treasure and my personal savior. You are the emblem of my highest fortune and the very form of ecstasy. I offer my obeisances unto you. Forced to submit to the ruling Muslim government, Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana became ministers and lived at Ramakeli. They were forced because the ruler at that time, Nawab Hussain Shah, saw in them very good qualities, very exalted qualities. So he thought will enrich his kingdom to have, them. So and of course they didn't want to accept. They didn't accept, but he forced them by threatening them that if they will not accept, their families will suffer greatly, and the Vaishnava community will suffer greatly too. So they were forced to accept to work for the Muslim government, to protect their dear ones and the devotees. And they were born as Sanatana Goswami name was Sri Santosh. And the Muslim king changed the name to Dabir Kas and Sakar Malik, Rupa and Sanatana. But later, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave them initiation and changed the name to Rupa and Sanatana. So, Nawab Hussain Shah appointed Sanatana Goswami as his prime minister. He was so intelligent, so he knew Sanskrit, Urdu, other languages too. And he was considered a great scholar. And he was very attached to study the Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's finish the reading. We make more comments. So they lived in a place called Ramakeli. So they named all the forests around with the names of the forest of Vrindavan. And the ponds, they call it Radhakunda and Shamakunda, where they bathed every day. And they, their real engagement was teaching Shastras. And they learned from the brother of Sarvamata, whose name was Vidya Pachaspati. Brahmanas and Pandits from all over India came to study under the two brothers. Sri Rupa and Sanatan were acclaimed as the crest jewel of the Gaudiya Vaishnava scholars. After the Lord visited Ramakeli and freed them, they renounced everything for Lord Gauranga's service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Sri Rupa and Sanatan Goswami to move to Vrindavan and perform 4 services. Uncover Sri Krishna's pastime places, install deities, arrange for their puja, compile bhakti scriptures, propagate the rules of devotional life. So now, how they were able to escape the government's service? That's an interesting story. For Rupa Goswami was easier to renounce this job because he was like the treasurer. So in some or other he was able to do that. But Sanatana Goswami wasn't, because he was the prime minister, it wasn't an easy thing to do. So he made an excuse that he was sick, so he didn't go to work. But the king suspected something wasn't right. So he sent the spies to his home to see what he was actually doing. And he was studying the Srimad Bhagavatam in the company of many Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas. So the spies told the king what was really happening. So the king himself in person came to the house of Sanatana Goswami, and when everybody saw him, they stood up, of course. He's a king, Nobody get the position unless get some, merit from the Lord or something. Anyway, although he was a Muslim ruler, but then the king Nawab Hussain Shah told Sanatana Goswami, "All right, you did this. That's okay. You are like my younger brother, but I'm going right now to Orissa to conquer Jagannath Puri. I want you to come with me." And Sanatana Goswami declined. They say, "You are going there to give pain to Lord Jagannath, so I don't want to go with you." Yeah. So he was put in jail. You don't agree with the government, you go to jail. That's what's happening right now in Venezuela. You don't agree with the government, you go to jail. If you openly, outspoken, you will be in trouble. You will be in big trouble. Some people at the airport, their passport were confiscated. "Sorry, sir, your passport is cancelled." Why? Don't ask me why. Ask the office there. They couldn't leave the country. Things like that. Anyway, I don't want to talk politics, but Sanatana Goswami, he knew about politics and all these things. So he was in jail. And Nawab Hussain Shah, when I come back from my conquest in Orissa, I hope you have a change of mind and come back to your senses and work for me again. Anyway, but Sanatana Goswami's hope was to escape and join the movement of Lord Chaitanya. That was his desire. So his brother, Rupa Goswami, sent a spy to the prison with a note that I can help you escape, I can provide you so much money to bribe the jail keeper so you can escape from jail. So Sanatana Goswami, some foolish man was criticizing Sanatana Goswami the other day on the internet because he was bribing to escape from prison. Come on, who will not do it to join Lord Chaitanya? You do anything with crooked people, you have to be crooked too. Otherwise, Chanakya Pandit said, in the forest, the straight trees, they are cut first. The crooked trees, they are left. So anyway, with the crooked, we have to be crooked, Prabhupada said. Anyway. So anyway, he offered the 5,000 golden coin to the jail keeper to release him. The keeper was greedy, but he was afraid. But the king may kill me if I let you go. And Sanatana Goswami said, okay, I will give you 7,000 golden coins. And you have to tell that you took me out of jail to go for the call of nature, to pass through. And he was with chains and hands and legs, So you tell them that I jumped in the Ganga and I drowned and I died. And my intention, he lied, of course. I was first praising the jail keeper that you are a scholar, you are a saint, you know the Quran, by heart, and he was praising him like that. And I want to escape prison because I want to go to Mecca and become a fakir, become a renounced sannyasi Muslim. So I spoke to him like that to convince him. Finally, keeper agreed and released him, of course, after receiving 7,000 golden coins. I mean, that's a lot of money. Anyway, so Sanatana Goswami escaped jail, but he didn't go through the regular roads because not to be detected. He went through the mountains and things like that. And one of his family members sent a servant to accompany him to go through the mountains. They stopped at an hotel. In the middle of the mountain, there was an hotel. And of course, many thieves and dacoits will stay in that hotel. So, and Sanatana Goswami was very, very clever. He noticed that everybody was treating him too nicely. So he understood they wanted to steal from him. So he asked the servant, give me the 8 golden coins you have. And the servant, he said, I have only 7. He kept one for himself. So okay, that one you have with you, you can go back to from where you came. And he gave the 7 coins to the owner of the hotel, of the inn. Why are you giving me this money? Well, because I'm traveling to the jungle. If you don't accept it, some other men may kill me for it. So please accept it. And do you know what the owner of the inn said? My astrologers told me about how much money you got. And we were planning to kill you tonight to steal this money. Thank you for saving me from doing a sinful activity. Amazing, isn't it? They knew by astrology how much money he had. Amazing, isn't it? Anyway, I heard some stories some years ago. One devotee in Vrindavan, he was having in his safe $10,000. And one astrologer, just by astrology, came to know how much money he had. So that devotee went to the bank to deposit the $10,000 in the bank. And the teller said, no, we can't now for this and that reason, come tomorrow. He gave some excuse. And because the teller of the bank was in agreement with the astrologers and the friend of the astrologers, and the 3 of them plotted and stole the $10,000 from that devotee. And, I mean, even astrology can be misused for bad purpose. Of course, they have to pay karma for all that. Anyway, Sanatana Goswami reached one town. He met a family member, and he took rest there and could eat and something. And then his family member gave him a nice chadar, nice chadar to cover himself, silk and, no good quality chadar. So finally, Sanatana Goswami, he knew that Lord Chaitanya will be in Varanasi, Benares. So he went there. Lord Chaitanya was staying at the house of Kashi Mishra, isn't it? Tapan Mishra. And Lord Chaitanya asked, he told Tapan Mishra, look if there is a Vaishnava outside your home right now. And he went out and he saw Sanatan with long beard, long hair. He said, no, I just saw a Muslim out there. So, no, he's not a Muslim. So Lord Chaitanya came out and was Sanatan Goswami. So he embraced him, welcomed him, and and I'm so happy that Krishna allowed you to be released, from the government and from jail. Do you know who was Nawab Hussain Shah in Krishna Lila? No, not Kamsa. Kamsa became the Chand Kazi. Yeah, but Nawab Hussain Shah in Krishna Lila was who? The one who attacked Mathura 18 times. Jarasandha. Jarasandha. Amazing, isn't it? Kalayavana, I'm not sure. I am, maybe. But the idea, when Lord Chaitanya visited Ramakeli, from the balcony of his palace, Nawab Hussain Shah saw Lord Chaitanya. He was along with Rupa Goswami. So he asked, the king asked Rupa Goswami, that was the first time he saw Lord Chaitanya. He said, who is this sannyasi? So Rupa Goswami was afraid that the king will harm Lord Chaitanya or something. So no, it's just so many sannyasis, just one more sannyasi, But Nawab Hussain Shah didn't agree. No. This is a very special sannyasi. I see thousands of people following him, and he's not giving them any food, even water or money, but still by the thousands they following him. I can see he's an avatar. He's an avatar. He's the Lord himself. See, he was a very intelligent man, I mean to say. Although he was not devotee, he had some, perception of things, Anyway, he didn't do anything to Lord Chaitanya. Anyway, so then Lord Chaitanya asked Sanatana Goswami, go take bath, shave up, clean up. And then Sanatana Goswami, he just was wearing a regular, cloth, but he was keeping the valuable chadar. So Lord Chaitanya didn't say nothing about the valuable chadar because Sanatana Goswami became a sannyasi, renounced material life, But Lord Chaitanya will not say, but he noticed that Lord Chaitanya was looking at the chadar few times. So he went to the river Ganges, and he saw a pauper there and then a beggar, and he offered his chadar for his torn kilt, And the beggar was surprised. Are you joking at me? You're laughing at me? I'm a poor man. You don't do that. No, seriously, I'm giving you this valuable chadar. So when he came back with a torn one, Lord Chaitanya smiled. He was pleased that he left that little small attachment. and then he stayed some time with the Lord, and the Lord then sent him to Vrindavan for these four purposes we just read, Uncover Sri Krishna's pastime places, which he did, with the help of his brother Rupa Goswami. They uncovered pastime places, Installed deities, the deity that was worshipping Sanatana Goswami was Madam Mohan. Madam Mohan was in Mathura. I mean, the person who found Sri Madam Mohan was Advaita Goswami. Advaita Gosai. And he, before leaving Vrindavan, he left it under the care of his one Brahman disciple of Advaita Acharya, living in Mathura. So Sanatana Goswami, with the excuse to beg alms from that family, he will go every day to Mathura just to have darshan of Madan Mohan. He was becoming attached to that beautiful form of the Lord. But he noticed that one day, the lady of the house, she was cooking for Madan Mohan, but she had many children. They were treating Madan Mohan as one of their children. Not like a special, just like, okay. So while she was cooking, one of her children came to her with mucus in his nose. So she took with her sari, she cleansed her nose, and kept cooking. So Sanatana Goswami made a complaint that, Mataji, please, a little more cleanliness will be nice, no? She apologized and everything. But that night, Madan Mohan he appeared in a dream of all the family members, and he told them, don't listen to Sanatana Goswami. I'm pleased that you worship me as one of your kids. I'm happy with that. Don't have to follow so many rules. Anyway, so Sanatana Goswami had the dream to one day worship Madan Mohan, but when the family smilingly told him about the dream, his hope was evaporating. Anyway, but after some time, he came to visit, and he found all the family crying. So what happened? And they said, well, last night in a dream, Madan Mohan told us he was pleased with our service, but now he wants to move with you to Vrindavan. The Lord is completely independent. He can do anything he wants. So what can we do? We're just crying out of his separation. So Madan Mohan went with Sanatana Goswami to Vrindavan. And he didn't have a temple or a house. He was living under different trees every night. So he put Madan Mohan on a branch of a tree, and he was writing there, and he will chant for him, and he will beg some, to make chapatis. He will, flour. He make some flour with flour and make some chapati and offer to him. That's all he could offer. But one day Sanatana Goswami spoke to him. He said, Sanatan, please at least put some little salt on the chapati, And Sanatana Goswami said, my dear Lord, I'm very busy writing your glories and in your books. Today you are asking me for salt. Tomorrow you want some little ghee on the chapati. Then you will want some sabjis and rice and dal. I'm a poor man. I can't afford this. And I'm very busy in your service. I am sure if you want more opulent worship, you will arrange it yourself. And the Lord made his own arrangement. One day, a very, very, rich businessman who was passing to the Yamuna in a boat with his belonging. He was going to Mathura to sell his goods. And he had, of course, salt and other things too. And his boat gets stuck, in front of Sanatana Goswami was living in a hill. And that hill, after chastising Kaliya, Krishna went up that hill to dry himself, and the 12 sons of the sun god came to warm him up on that hill. So it's a famous hill. Also on that hill, Krishna, he was with his friends there, the cowherd boys, and they were thirsty. So Krishna with his flute make a hole in the ground, and sweet water came out of that. Still, they have a well and the sweet water. All Vrindavan, the water is a little salty, but that place, I mean, very sweet water. Yeah. Anyway, so then the he asked for some men to help him to release his boat, and they could not. 10 men were pushing the boat. So he said, "What can I do? I have to go, to do this." "Oh, go upstairs this hill, and there is a sadhu, saintly person living there. You ask for his blessing so you can, release your boat." So he went up the hill and met Sanatana Goswami, offered respect to him, and asked his blessing for, to help him. And Sanatana Goswami told him, "The boss here is Madam Mohan. You talk to him." So the businessman went to Madam Mohan and prayed to him. Of course, he wanted to offer something. So in his pocket, he had a little salt, and he offered the salt to Madam Mohan. So Madam Mohan had the salt for his chapatis. And he was enchanted by the beauty of Madam Mohan, and he promised Madam Mohan, "If my business go well, I will come back and make a beautiful big temple for you." And by the blessing of Madam Mohan, he was successful in this business, and he built the first temple of Vrindavan. Madam Mohan was the first temple, a big temple in Vrindavan. Of course, definitely. Anyway, let's finish the reading here. So installed Madam Mohan in Vrindavan, compiled the scriptures, like Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the most famous book written by Sanatana Goswami, and other books too, and propagate the rules of devotional service. Lord Chaitanya instructed him what are the rules for observing different, festivities and everything. Entering Lord Chaitanya's service, they resolutely gave up power, riches, and position to live in Vrindavan as humble beggars absorbed in bhajan. One cannot properly perform Krishna bhajan until one renounces all attachment, both internally and externally, and adopt a life of simplicity and humility. They traveled extensively through Brajamandal, discovering many lila sthanas of Radha Madhava. Having no fixed residence, they would catch a few winks of sleep, no more than 1.5 hours per day, under a tree or a bush. You know why they're sleeping under different trees every day? Not just only because of detachment, but because they wanted to associate with every tree in Vrindavan, because every tree was a desire tree, Kalpa Vriksha tree. Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana Goswami spent all their time writing, discussing Krishna's pastime, and chanting Krishna's holy names. To maintain himself, Sanatana would bake some wheat flour, roll it into a ball by adding a touch of Yamuna water, and drop it in the smoldering coals to cook. He would offer this bati, salt-free baked bread ball, to his deity of Madam Mohan. Giving up all kinds of material enjoyment, the Goswami accepted the poorest way of life as mendicant. They ate just enough to maintain their bodies. The Radha Madam Mohan Mandir established by Sanatana Goswami was the first one opened in Vrindavan by the Sri Goswamis. Described as the personal extension of the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Sanatana Goswami is the ideal spiritual master because he gives one shelter at the lotus feet of Madam Mohan. Each and every deity of the main 3 deities in Vrindavan, they represent different aspects of devotional service. Madam Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinath. So Madam Mohan represents the Sambandha Tattva. Sambandha Tattva means to know our relationship with Krishna, with the material world, with other living entities. To know the truth about relationships. So Sanatana Goswami is the guru of Sambandha Tattva. To know the purpose of life, who we are, why we are here, why we are suffering, who is God, what is our relationship with Him. He revealed all this knowledge. Sri Sanatana Goswami spent 43 years wandering from village to village in Vrindavan. The Brajavasi would affectionately care for him, treating him like their father. With patience and concern, he listened to their problems. Then he will please all the villagers by his preaching and practical advice on everything from increasing crop yields to solving family quarrels. He got very much involved in their lives, like a father to them, you know. And he said, I prefer to hear the prajalpa of the Brajavasis than to hear the praises of the Vaikuntha dwellers. Renouncing all worldly pleasures, Sanatana Goswami was humble, detached, always absorbed in his study. Mahaprabhu often said that Sanatana Goswami was his favorite devotee. As an ocean of love and mercy, Sanatana excelled in all other devotees in his compassion toward the suffering souls. In his last year, he left his beloved deity, Madan Mohan, with Krishnadas Brahmachari, his disciple. He did bhajan on the banks of Manasi Ganga next to Chakleshwar Mahadev at Govardhan. Daily he walked 24-mile parikrama, original longer route of Govardhan hill. Although he was 65 years old, he kept his daily vow of offering 1,008 obeisances to Govardhan hill and to any Vaishnava whom he met. So one day, while he was doing his parikrama around Govardhan, Madan Mohan appeared one day as a boy, and he told him, you are too old. Don't take so much trouble to walk around Govardhan hill every day. Sanatana Goswami replied, this is one of my daily vows and of my bhajan. I must maintain it. Since you are old, the boy said, you may now give up this vow. Starting to walk again, Sanatana replied, I will never give up my religious principles. Sanatana Goswami's firm determination to complete his daily devotional vow pleased Sri Madan Mohan, Krishna. But in loving dealings between the Lord and his pure devotee, Krishna desired to please his devotee often defeats the devotee's desire to please him. So out of loving compassion for his devotees, Sri Krishna stood on a large flat stone, Govardhan Shila, and he played his irresistible flute. The Govardhan Shila melted in ecstasy, capturing the impression of Krishna's lotus feet. And presenting this Shila to Sanatan, Krishna said, if you circumvallate this Shila every day, it will be the same as going around Govardhan hill every day. I was doing that every day, and when I go to Vrindavan in Kartika, at Radha Damodar, yes. You give some donation to Pujari, he will show it to you. Has the mark of the Krishna's lotus foot, the mark of Krishna's flute, and the mark of a calf hoof print. Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur said in Jaiva Dharma, Sanatana Goswami was empowered to explain this esoteric aspect of Krishna's manifest and unmanifest Braja Lila. Sanatana Goswami made a significant literary contribution to the Gaudiya Sampradaya with his Hari Bhakti Vilas, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and Brihad Vaishnava Toshani. In the form of Labanga Manjari, Sanatana Goswami served Srimati Vishaka Saki in Radha Madhava's Nitya Nikunja Lila. Sanatana Goswami Samadhi is behind Radha Madan Mohan Temple. Sri Sanatana Goswami ki? Any comments, questions? Okay. You want me to tell? I can't tell many stories.
Tell the story of how he got over the hilly tract of land using the gold and serving Krishna.
I already said that. You didn't hear it. I mentioned it with every detail, that story. Anyway, but there's another story I want to tell you about Sanatana Goswami. He went to to visit Lord Chaitanya from Vrindavan, he went to Jagannath Puri, and he drank some water on the way from the Jarikanda forest, which wasn't pure water, and he got infection, skin infection, and he had all over his body, what do you call sores with pus inside. There's a sores, so he didn't walk the main road because he didn't want that the pujaris worshiping Lord Jagannath accidentally touch his body, become contaminated. So he walked at the seashore at noontime. So the sand was very hot and he burned his feet. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he went to see Lord Chaitanya, paid obeisance to him. And Lord Chaitanya wanted to hug him. So he wasn't, no, please don't touch my body, it's very contaminated. But by force, Lord Chaitanya will every day hug him. So he was very upset that my body is making offense to the Lord. In his mind, he decided to give up his body by throwing himself under the cart of Lord Jagannath at Ratha Yatra. But Lord Chaitanya didn't agree with that decision. He knows everything. He's in the heart of everyone. So Lord Chaitanya, one day after hugging him, he told him, if I could achieve Krishna's love by giving up my body, I will give 1,000 bodies. But I have many plans to use your body in Krishna's service. You cannot give it up. So he understood that Lord Chaitanya didn't approve his desire to commit suicide. And then Lord Chaitanya embraced him again, and all his sores disappeared. He was cured immediately, miraculously, by Lord Chaitanya. Once Lord Chaitanya, Jagannatha Pandit wanted to visit Vrindavan. So he stayed with Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami was wearing a turban with a red cloth in his head. So Jagadananda asked him, who gave you this red cloth? And he mentioned some sannyasi. And Jagadananda became very angry. He took a pot and was going to hit Sanatana Goswami with the pot. and Sanatana Goswami laughed. He said, I was testing your devotion to Lord Chaitanya. I wanted to see you loving. I heard about your famous loving anger. I wanted to see it by myself. Thank you for showing it to me. Because Jagannatha will not tolerate that being a disciple and follow Lord Chaitanya will accept, give some other sannyasi and wear it. We couldn't tolerate that. But what wasn't true. He was just testing the devotion, no? Like that. Anyway, there are many pastimes of Sanatana Goswami, of course. Anybody remember any other pastimes we forgot to mention? Or any philosophical comment? Or yes.
Who were the other two corresponding personalities in which deities? Also the corresponding deities for the two other tattvas you mentioned.
Thank you for asking. The other deities who represent the other aspect of devotional service, which is Avideya, Sambandha, Madame Mohan, Avideya, Govinda, the deity of Govinda Ji, and finally Shri Gopinath represent Prajojana, the highest goal of life, which is Krishna Prema, So the Govindaji deity that represent the Abideya, the practice of devotional service, is Srila Rupa Goswami's deity. And the deity of Shri Gopinath, which represent the highest goal of life, was worshipped by, what was his name? I mean, we know that Raghunath Das Goswami represent the highest achievement in life, But the deity was being worshipped by, I can't remember his name right now. Wasn't one of the Goswamis, was a disciple of them. So first we have to know what is the purpose of life, what is our relationship with Krishna, and then next to act according to it. Now you know you are not this body or spirit soul. You are eternal servant of Krishna. What are you going to do? The next step is Abhideya, to engage in practical devotional service. And Rupa Goswami broke the nectar of devotion to explain to us how to engage in practical devotional service. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Sanatana Goswami ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari.